afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Smart Start, the program that takes you through your pre-orientation process as you prepare to begin your first year of study with us right here at the UWI St. Augustine campus. So for those students that are joining us for the very first time, I say a special welcome to you on behalf of the entire campus team to your first year experience, which you will soon come to know as FYE. And of course, for our students that were here at last week's session and are joining us again this week, we say welcome back. We are truly, truly honored that you have all made the UWI St. Augustine campus your choice for learning. And through the FYE program, we are committed to ensuring that you are successful in your first year and that you have a dynamic and truly rewarding university experience. So our FYE Smart Start program is all about meeting your early informational demands as we understand how important it is to you to have adequate information and all the facts that you need to help you navigate this transition to university. We invite you, therefore, for the entire month of June to join us virtually every Thursday right here for Smart Start, where we will explore a new topic with you each week. We'll introduce you to new concepts and certainly provide you with information that will be useful as you transition to university. So last week, we looked at getting started with university life. We took a look at the strategies that you as a first-year student can employ to maximize your university experience. This presentation was facilitated by our campus's Director of Student Services, Dr. H.E.L.P, and we were also very delighted to have our admissions team with us. And the team took students through the next immediate steps now that you have all received your offer letters. So in our agenda today, or on our agenda today, we will explore all things fees, funding, and finance. Yes, a very, very important topic, fees, funding, and finance. We will begin with a presentation from our campus's Senior Financial Manager of Student Accounts, Ms. Carolyn Gooding, and we will then move to a discussion on GA.T.E, and this will be facilitated by our special guests. They are representatives from the Ministry of Education's Funding and Grants Administration Division. We will then shift gears to our breakout room sessions where members of our campus's admissions team will take you through the steps of the upcoming registration process. And in these sessions, you'll get an opportunity, of course, to ask any related questions that you may have. So as always, during the session, we ask that you engage with us in the chat, take a note of all of the important information and points that will be shared with you throughout. We also ask that when not speaking, you keep your microphone muted, and should you have a question or comment to direct to any one of our presenters, please indicate by using the raise hand feature on your screen so that you can be called upon and given the opportunity to make your contribution. So now that we have been briefed, I know that I've said quite a lot, but now that we've been briefed on what to expect today, it is my pleasure to invite our very first presenter to the virtual stage, Mrs. Carolyn Gooding. Over to you, Mrs. Gooding.
Thank you so much, Gerald, and good day, everyone. We at the Bursary extend a warm welcome to you, our new students. As Gerald indicated, my name is Carolyn Gooding, Senior Financial Manager of the Bursary Student Accounts and Receivables section. And it's a pleasure to share with you today on today's topic, shifting gears, finance, fees, and funding. Also with me today are two of my colleagues, Lisa Ali and Cora Howard. We at STA campus understand that the pandemic resulted in financial challenges locally, regionally, and internationally, and we are here to assist by providing you with a number of options to finance your degree. So first of all, let's look at the fees that you will incur now that you have chosen to further your studies here with us at the UWI. So we have compulsory fees, tuition fees, and where applicable, if you are staying on halls, you'll have hall fees. So compulsory fees, these are payable at the beginning of the academic year, and a breakdown of these fees can be seen on the screen. So we have compulsory fees are guild fees, ID card, which is relevant only for the first time. So your first issue only, you will have a cost of $120. Caution money, which you pay only on the year of entry. Students group health plan, personal accident and insurance, and the amenities fees. So those are your compulsory fees, which are payable at the beginning of the academic year. We then move to tuition fees. Now, tuition fees are billed it is billed as per credit fees, depending on the faculty of enrollment. So each faculty has a different cost per credit, which is seen here on the screen. Now, the Academy of Sport and the Faculty of Medical Sciences, those are self-financing programs. And these programs are the funding is different in that they are programs which are subsidized by the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And then we have these self-financing programs. So the funding structure is a little bit different. So you can get more details on our fee information of from our undergraduate financial information booklet. And the link for that will be posted in the chat. Also, the booklet that is now available on the site is 2021-22. So the updated booklet will be provided soon. Halls of residence. This is another fee, and these fees are payable at the beginning of each semester or monthly. So the following halls will be operational for the new academic year. We know that previously there was just 2 halls open during the pandemic. So in September, the JGI Hall, the Joyce Gibson Innes Hall in Mount Hope, Canada Hall, and the Sir Arthur Lewis Hall of Residence on St. John's Road will be open from September. So in August 2021, the campus introduced a payment plan module called FYE. So this plan is accessed through the student portal, which is My Secure Area, and it is available to all students. Now, previously, we had a payment plan that was structured a little bit differently in that it wasn't available to all students. With this shift, FYE, all students have access to the payment plan, and it is mandatory that all students enroll in FYE as it grants automatic financial clearance. To maintain financial clearance, however, we ask that you submit your registration documents to the bursary and pay your fees on or before the deadline dates. Why is financial clearance important? So you will get automatic financial clearance when you enroll in FYE. And just to recap, to maintain the financial clearance, we need to submit our registration documents. And it's important for you to have access to your financial clearance because it grants you access to your UE student ID card, the health services unit, sporting facilities such as the gym, the tennis court, and the swimming pool, your UE parking pass, access to the online resources from My e-learning, library services, access to examinations, most importantly, and access to My Secure Area, and of course, graduation. So the payment plan is designed to allow you to pay your tuition and compulsory fees. So these are payable in 3 installments in semesters 1 and 2, and 2 installments in our summer semester. So the rates and the percentages are here on the screen, and it is dependent on whether you are a sponsored or a non-sponsored student. So sponsored students, of course, will be if you are GATE funded, if for foreign students, if you are funded by your particular government or any sort of sponsorship, you will enroll in FYE under the sponsored students plan. And of course, the non-sponsored are for those students who are self-funded. So you are paying your fees yourself. You will enroll in FYE under the non-sponsored student plan. Now we have these dates as a guide for you as to the deadline for the respective payments. Now, these are a guide and they will be finalized, but for now, Lisa, if you can just go back. Yeah, so for now, these are the dates that we'll be working with. If there are any changes, they will be updated on the website. Now, there is also the option to pay all of your fees upfront. Now, even if you do so, you are still required to enroll in fee pay, because remember, enrollment in fee pay grants you financial clearance. So now let's look at financing your degree. There are a few options available to finance your degree. You can do so through G.A.T.E, H.E.L.P loans, bursaries and scholarships, and of course, self-funded. So G.A.T.E, let's start with G.A.T.E. So now that you've received your acceptance letter from the UWI, we encourage you to submit your application early to the G.A.T.E office, and your application will be for the semester for which you are registering. So this would allow your means rate to be confirmed early in the semester, and the G.A.T.E office representatives who will be joining after the session will provide further details on G.A.T.E funding. H.E.L.P loans is another option to finance a degree. These are available through commercial banks, and the G.A.T.E representatives will also address this in more detail when they come up next to present. Scholarships and bursaries. Now, there are scholarships and bursaries funded by the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and these are national bursaries and scholarships. And the Division of Student Services and Development, who are hosting us today, they also offer through their Financial Advisory Services Department a number of scholarships and bursaries. So the link to the DSSD's scholarships and bursaries will be posted in the chat for ease of reference. And then, of course, we have once you're self-funded. So now we have all these fees that need to be paid. How do we do this? So there are a number of payment methods available for you to pay your fees. First of all, you can do so via My Secure Area through FeePay. Now, we encourage you to use this option, as when payments are made through this option, they are reflected instantaneously on your student account. Another option is through online payment, interbank transfers, and you can do so by credit card, debit chip cards, and these are relevant for both our international and local students. You can also make payment at any branch of Republic Bank using the UWI deposit slips. Now, there are specific slips. We encourage you when you go to the bank to use those deposit slips to ensure that you are paying into the correct account. So what that facilitates is once we get a copy of that slip, it is used to update your student account. Another method of payment is the online transfers, and that is interbank transfers. And for foreign students, payments are made via wire transfer. So in summary, we encourage you to visit our bursary website for further information. If you have any financial related questions, we ask that you contact us using our bursary service desk. These links will be posted in the chat for ease of reference. I thank you for your time and attention, and we in the Bursary Student Accounts and Receivables section look forward to welcoming you to our campus in September. Discover your power, create your future. Over to you, Jarrell.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Gooding, for always delivering a comprehensive presentation. We know that our students are grateful for the information, and students, as Mrs. Gooding would have shared, we do have some links posted in the chat, links specific to the undergraduate fee booklet that you can find, as well as the scholarships and bursaries website. Shortly, we'll also share with you the link to the bursaries website. have any questions. And of course, we do have a service desk option via that particular website. So any queries that you may have, we ask you to get familiar with the website and submit your questions via service desk on the Bursary website. All right. So Mrs. Gooding, again, we want to say thank you to you and the entire team for being here and sharing with our students on the very important topic of student fees and the process that they can expect to get involved in. So students, we hope that you do have an appreciation for it. And of course, do not be too worried about having to capture everything right now. Orientation is a process. So we will be sure to share this with you at different times. All right. So Mrs. Gooding, thank you so very much. And continuing with our program, it's my pleasure to welcome our special guests this afternoon. They are from the Ministry of Education's Funding and Grants Administration Division. And with us, we have our officers, Mr. Kron Robain, Ms. Mahabir, and Mrs. Camille Haynes Gopaul, who would now share with you a bit on the GATE. Welcome, Kron, welcome, Anne, welcome, Camille, and over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. And as Jarrell would have mentioned, my name is Kron Robain. This is my colleague, Mahabir, and my colleague, Camille Haynes. And we are investigating officers of the Funding and Grants Administration Division, as much as you know as GATE. All right, so we're going to begin a presentation. We want to congratulate all the students on beginning your journey to tertiary education and let you know, for those who are seeking GATE funding, that you're going to enter into a relationship with GATE going forward. All right, and we're here to guide you through the process in the limited time that we have available. All right, so Ministry of Education, we offer 3 grants at the Ministry of Education. All right, so assistance can be given in 3 ways. The first being national scholarships, or a student can access a grant through the National Bursary Award that was mentioned previously in the previous session. All right, of course, the third being the government assistance for tuition expenses, GATE. All right, so a student who has been successful in obtaining a scholarship or National Bursary Award is not eligible for GATE funding. So I'm aware that some students may have prematurely applied for GATE, where they would have had an application in for a national scholarship or a bursary. We are advising those students that you will not be able to access multiple grants from the Ministry of Education. You will only be eligible for one. So if you have applied for GATE and you discovered thereafter that you have been successful in receiving a National Bursary Award or a national scholarship, we ask that these students contact GATE to have those applications cancelled that they may have submitted early. All right, so you all have been hearing about GATE. So what is GATE? And what everyone should know about GATE. So you're familiar with the GATE acronym. All right, what is GATE? GATE is Government Assistance for Tuition Expenses. So GATE has been around for many years, and it was developed with the intention to assist students with tertiary education. And how do we do this? All right, so now students may feel, well, okay, they may be able to access full tuition from GATE, but we use something called a means test. And it was mentioned previously, and we will go in more detail a little later on, all right, to explain exactly what is the mean test and what does it mean for the student, right? So how do you qualify for GATE? Firstly, and most importantly, you must be a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago to qualify for GATE. So we don't accept persons with residency status or Commonwealth status. And even as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, you must be, let's say we have students who are citizens and they decide to go away for a couple of years, you must be back and living in Trinidad and Tobago for at least 3 years prior to the time that you submit your GATE application. You must also be under the age of 50. You must be fully accepted into a GATE-approved university and a GATE-approved program. And I know that we are doing this presentation to MoE, so you all are definitely in a GATE-approved university. And of course, we always advise students to confirm that the program you are pursuing is in fact a GATE-approved program. Now, the GATE policy has changed over the years, and currently, GATE only offers one program at the undergraduate level. And what does this mean for students? Now, at the undergraduate level, the program could be at the certificate level, diploma, the advanced diploma, associate degree, or bachelor degree. And what does this mean? If a student has received funding for a certificate program, unfortunately, they will not be able to access funding for another. All right, if they do a diploma and they're looking to do a bachelor's, they will only get funding for one. So we try to advise students to choose wisely. Ensure that you are ready, you know what program you're going to pursue, because once GATE begins compensating you and paying and giving you funding for that one program, you will not be able to get funding for a second one. And of course, with the policy changes that we have had, we no longer fund postgraduate level programs, all right? Only undergraduate level programs. So how do you access GA.T.E? First and foremost, students need to register at TT Connect. GA.T.E applications are not done manually anymore. We're in the era of technology, so everything is done online and electronically. You must register at TT Connect. What documents do you need during this registration process? You need your birth certificate, your ID card, valid ID card or passport. We do not accept driver's license. And of course, a professional email address. Now, we have about 6 locations of TT Connect offices throughout Trinidad and Tobago. If you visit the TT Connect website, they will list all the locations. So whichever one is closest to you from where you live, you could always visit there to get your e-service ID. Now, this e-service ID, you will use for the duration of your time at the institution and applying for GA.T.E. It's permanent, it is unique to each individual student, and you will be required to enter this e-service ID every time you are logging on to do your application. And how are you going to do this application? Once you are given this e-service ID from TT Connect, you are required to visit the eGate website, our platform, where you will do the application online. All right, so you use your login ID, your e-service ID, you log in to access the application and you complete the form online. Now, the platform is very user-friendly, but we always tell students if anything is unclear or ambiguous, they can always send us some email or give us a call and we will guide them through the process. All right, and we also want to make mention that your GA.T.E notification emails, now throughout the entire process from time of application until your means is confirmed, GA.T.E will be sending you emails along the way, letting you all know of status changes, when you go from clearance approved to means confirmed, when we verify your documents. So we ask students to ensure that the GA.T.E notification emails are added to your inbox, so it doesn't go to the junk folder, and then you are not aware when we are sending emails and correction emails for you to make corrections to your application. All right, so moving on to the GA.T.E form process. All right, so what this really means, what we do after you submit it, you log into your account and you're going to do the application online. You're going to have to verify your biodata on the application form. So ensure that your name is there, your address is there, all your personal information is there. What identity documents we will need when going through the application process for each student? Again, your birth certificate is necessary, valid passport or national ID. And if the student may have had a name change for whatever reason, we may need either a deed poll or affidavit or possibly a marriage certificate. Right, so we're looking now for the academic documents. Now we know this presentation today is geared towards the new students of UWI, year 1 students. And the most critical document for us here is your acceptance letter. Now there may be instances where the university offers a conditional or provisional acceptance letter. And usually they do this when students are awaiting results for some outstanding CSEC courses. But what GA.T.E requires at the time of application is a full acceptance letter. So if students were issued a provisional or conditional, we urge you to go back to your administration at UWI and ensure that you get an updated letter that shows full acceptance into the program. All right, so we go on to the means test documents and what is required. Now, I know most of the students here probably today, your parents may be the person providing for you financially and supporting you financially. And if that is the case, what documents is required from your parents, both your parents? We will need a salary or a pay slip that should not be older than 6 months old. If they are the pensionable age, we will need whatever pension documents they would have gotten. And if they are self-employed, we will need them to write a letter indicating what business and what is the nature of that self-employment. All right, so we're moving on to understanding GA.T.E. So we always tell students, now, we are very fortunate in Trinidad and Tobago to have access to GA.T.E funding. I know you all know that we may be the only country in the region that assists students with funding for their tertiary expenses. But again, GA.T.E is not mandatory. A student, his family could decide, you know what, we're not going to utilize GA.T.E. We're going to pay our tuition fees out of pocket. That is totally up to the parent and to the student. All right, so it's not mandatory that you utilize the GATE service, but of course, it is there to help you and ensure that students could realize the academic dreams of tertiary education. And it was mentioned earlier, and I think I want to reiterate what was said. Students must apply within their academic year of study and semester. So at the University of the West Indies, students are required to submit an application every semester. And we think in order to ensure that the means rate is given early and then you can pay a portion of your fees to the university, at the onset of the semester, we urge students to submit their GATE application. Because once the academic year passes, unfortunately, the student will not be able to apply for a period that we deem retroactive. All right? And of course, GATE is not guaranteed. So a lot of students feel, well, okay, I submit my application from year one, semester one, and GATE is going to cover me and see me through to the end of my program. Now we have mechanisms in place, we have our policies, and we use those policies to review applications, and they determine how we go about assessing our students. We may have instances where a program may not be GATE approved and low GPA. So something that is critical, but because you guys are in year one, so we will not be looking at transcripts and stuff for you guys just yet. But as you're about to enter your second year in the program, this is where we begin to monitor performance. And we have a minimum GPA requirement that I'm sure you guys will know of very shortly. And if the student for some reason falls below, then essentially it means that they may not be able to access GATE funding for that particular semester. All right, so again, GATE is not guaranteed. We use our policies to determine who can access GATE for the duration as they move along in the program. Right, so part of the GATE contract with the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the Ministry of Education, we have something that we call obligatory service. And once a student signs a GATE form and they agree to take this grant from the government of Trinidad and Tobago, depending on how much money is spent behind the student, will determine how much obligatory service the student is required to give back to the country of Trinidad and Tobago, be it in the public or the private sector. Right, so understanding GATE, and as we would have said, right, so understanding GATE, students must apply, right, so we can move, go back, I just want to make one more point. Right, so another thing that we want to point out today, now we know sometimes students may have taken an acceptance at the St. Augustine campus, but they probably were looking at doing the same program at possibly the UB-K.E.V.L campus or the MONA campus. Now with the revisions to our policies, we have now introduced a situation where we cap students at the course of the program in the regional campus. And I'll explain by example. All right, so for example, let's say a student is pursuing a management studies program in the social sciences faculty of the University of the West Indies. But let's say now the student decides, okay, I'm going to pursue this program at the MONA campus. The cost of the program in Trinidad is about 12,000 per year. But the cost of the program at K.E.V.L campus might be 18,000 TT per year, which is a difference of 6,000. What the capping really means is that GATE is only going to offer what is the cost of the program in Trinidad. So you will only be eligible for 12,000 for that management studies program, because that is what we pay at the St. Augustine campus. So the difference in tuition, the parents or the student will now bear that responsibility of paying that difference. And of course, even after the difference is paid, the student will still be subjected to the means rate. Right, so there's some important notes for you guys. The system of the GATE platform, it is used not just by GATE, but also, of course, the student and the institution as well. All right, so all the emails received via the e-service, it really doesn't require a visit to the GATE office, because sometimes, as I said, the university, they use the system as well. And an email might be received by the student, say, okay, GATE sent me an email, I need to go to the GATE office to have this result. And then sometimes, we have a whole barrage of students coming in, and the issue may not even be GATE related. It could be something related to the administrative fees at the university. So we encourage students to first liaise with the university to determine exactly if the issue is really one that is GATE related, or if it may be something that could be resolved at the university level. And again, always contact UWI first to clarify your status before assuming that the issue might be a GATE-related one. All right, so some of the application statuses you may see coming from us at GATE, not from the institution. Now, when a student applies, we know sometimes we require certain documents and require certain things to be done to the application. In the event that the student may submit the form and they may have omitted a document, or they may not have filled something out correctly on the form, we will send a correction, what we call a correction required email to the student. And what this is basically sending an email to the student informing them, hey, we require, let's say, a continuing student update a transcript, or we needed to change something on the form. We send you that email. Now the student is required to respond to that email within 2 weeks of receiving it. And if the student don't respond within the 2-week period, the application automatically cancels. Hence the reason why we keep stressing the fact, please ensure that the GATE emails go to your inbox and not your junk folder, because it's a relationship you're going to be developing with GATE over the next three years. We want you all to be able to receive the emails in a timely manner, because once the application cancels, then you have to restart the entire application process. All right, so having the email organized is critical. And again, we know we are all still living through the pandemic. So we still not encouraging students to visit us at the GATE office. If a student has any query, any problems, myself, my colleagues, we are all here, willing to assist, always ready to assist. We can be reached via telephone, we can be reached via email. All right. And now I will pass you on to my colleague, Ms. Mahabir, who will go through in a little more detail on what the means test means for you going forward in your journey.
Good afternoon, everyone. What is means test? It is an assessment of the family and or independent individuals to contribute financially to the cost of tertiary education. This assessment is granted every year. So, for example, if you are rated 75% for your first semester, the 75 rating will be applied to your second semester. The rate can change every academic year depending on your household and if there's any change in your household. So if you start off with 75% and your household income has changed in year 2 or year 3, the means rate could change to 100% or vice versa. Students are encouraged to ensure that the application is not kept back and ensure that the application is processed in a fast manner. They are encouraged to provide all relevant documents for review. So what does means test look at? They look at the household and what makes up the household. So a household can refer to anybody living in your house. So not just your parents, could be your aunts, uncles, cousin, grandparents, anybody living in your house that is earning some sort of income. In addition to who is in your house, when a means test officer reviews your application and sees any reason to ask for additional data. So we know we have different households. So you might be living with one parent and as your dad or mom is not living with you, but the means test unit might ask for that additional data. Household income document that you can submit is anything in pay slip, pension, NIS allowances, anything that anyone in the household has that refers or contributes to any sort of income, you need to declare it on your application. We strongly advise that students visit the GATE site and especially the FAQ page before completing an application, because this FAQ page clearly states everything that is needed when filling out an application properly. So we talked about GATE funding before, so let's understand the funding and the categories that we have. But first, to do that, when an officer is reviewing your application and they need additional information, they will send you an email notification informing you of such, right? And again, reiterating from Mr. Robain before, you need to keep, if not checking your email, logging into your GATE account often enough to check the progress of your applications. When they send this email, just like before, a student have 14 days to respond to the email. If they do not reply within that 14-day time frame, the application will be rated 50% as an incomplete application. The student will then be required to pay the additional 50% of the tuition fee to the institution. Just to reiterate, we encourage that you check all your folders, as some emails go to your junk and spam, so that you could action your emails in a timely manner. So to understand the household income and the funding eligibility, where the total household income is 10,000 per month or less, a student can be eligible for 100% of their tuition fees. Where the household income is about 10,000 per month, but less than 30,000, a student will be eligible for 75% of tuition fees, and the balance of the fees, the student needs to pay that directly to the institution. Where the household income is 30,000 per month, but less than 75,000, the student is eligible for 50% tuition fees, and the 50% balance is to be paid to the institution. Where the household income is 75,000 per month or above, the student will not qualify for GATE funding. I will now pass you over to Ms. Haynes Gopaul, who will continue the presentation on the H.E.L.P unit.
Thank you, Anne. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be presenting on the Higher Education Loan Program. This program, as indicated in the name itself, it is a bank loan that you can apply for each academic year. It is a low interest student loan, meaning at the time that you have to make repayments, the government will take care of 4% of the interest rate on your behalf. This loan is also guaranteed by the government. In terms of repayments also, it is important to note that students who are already employed will be required to start making repayments immediately once you are approved. If you're a full-time student not employed, you will be required to start making repayments at the end of your program. Some requirements of the program that you must meet are that you must be enrolled in a GATE-approved institution doing a GATE-approved program. You must be 18 years and over, but under 50 years of age. As with GATE, you must be a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, resident in the country, living in the country for a period of 3 continuous years at the time of application. There are 4 major banks who participate in the program. They are Republic Bank, the UWI branch only, RBC, the St. Augustine branch only, NEFCB, Scotia. So the documents that are required for the application, although it is indicated on the form itself, right, but they are copy of your birth certificate, national ID or passport, a full acceptance letter as you are year 1 students. For continuing students, a complete academic transcript. All applications must show proof of registration for courses, payslips for all those employed in the household, a utility bill to confirm the address, and 2 references, preferably non-related. To access the application form, you can go to the Ministry of Education website and the H.E.L.P application or the H.E.L.P program, and you will see a link that will guide you directly to the application form. Once you have filled out this form and you have all the documents, you will drop everything off to the bank which you have selected. No application is to come in directly to the ministry. Right? So now we come to what does H.E.L.P cover exactly? So they are both non-tuition and tuition expenses. Under non-tuition expenses, you can apply for things such as books, traveling to get to and from your institution, rent, housing, accommodation. So if you're living on hall, you move to be closer to your institution, your caution fees or compulsory fees, right? You can apply for these items. Under tuition expenses, you'd have just gone through means testing. So if you were not rated 100% and you still have 25% or 50% to pay, you can apply for that through the loan. Also, as Mr. Robain would have gone through, you might have already pursued a course, a program through G.A.T.E, right? So this means that you cannot apply for G.A.T.E anymore. You can apply now for help for tuition expenses for this program. This also has some requirements where the program that you want to do, it must be an approved program, and this is through the ACTT. A good guide to know is if G.A.T.E was going to pay for it before anyway, then you know that it is an approved program for you to do. An important thing to note is that the program that you would have done under G.A.T.E, you must have successfully completed this program. So you have your certificate in hand. However, for whatever reason, you might not have completed your program under G.A.T.E, right? So what you need to do in this instance is to contact the G.A.T.E unit, resolve that issue, and then you can apply for help. In terms of the postgraduate programs, these programs must also be an approved program through ACTT, but also they must be meeting the requirements of the priority listing, which are programs that are important to the development of Trinidad and Tobago. So that list is currently in progress. So if you're not sure whether your area of study is meeting that requirement, you can always contact the office and we will advise you. Also, in terms of what you are requesting through G.A.T.E, a means test is done on every application. So for local institutions, you can apply for 35,000 each academic year, right? And for regional institutions, you can apply for up to 75,000 each academic year. How much you will receive, as I just mentioned, will be determined through the means test. One thing to note as well is if you have been approved, the bank will have you pay an administration fee as well as an insurance fee. Just to note so that you are not surprised at the time that they make the appointment. So that concludes the help portion. This is just the contact information for the different areas within the Funding and Grants Administration Division, right? The contact numbers as well as the emails. So if you have any queries, you need further information that might not have been answered here or through the FAQs, you can always check these locations and you can always contact us. So to conclude our presentation, I will now hand you back over to Mr. Robain.
Right, so thank you everyone for listening. Now, we know it was a very short time and it was a lot of information to really decipher. But we think that this information is critical, especially for the new students. We know that you guys are very eager to commence your studies in September and you want to ensure that you're very up to date and you know what is required of you where G.A.T.E is concerned. But even if there is some level of misunderstanding or ambiguity, again, we are available via the contact information provided. You can always call us, you can always email us. We are here to help you guys. Our responsibility is not, and this is something I want to make very clear. We are not here to, have this adversarial relationship with students. Our responsibility is to ensure that you guys, you're studying hard, you're going to help contribute to the development of Trinidad and Tobago as we move forward. We want to help you along that process. And how we do that is by ensuring that your G.A.T.E applications come in a timely manner and that we can see you through the end of your program. All right, so that essentially ends our time here today. We're going to have the breakout session soon. So any questions or comments you may have, you can save it for that period. H.E.L.P, back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robain. Thank you, Ms. Haynes, Gopaul. We are so very grateful. Students, I hope that you can appreciate that you're in the right place. This is Smart Start, and as the name says, you are off to a smart start. Only here will you get representatives from the Ministry of Education walking you through the GATE program, right? So you don't have to be fishing for information at all. So to the entire team at the ministry, we want to say thank you so very much. And of course, we heard as well from Mrs. Gooding and the entire team at the Bursary. So you have information now on fees. You understand the fee structure at our campus. We shared some links with you in the chat for you to engage with the Bursary directly. And of course, you just heard from the teams, the team at the ministry, sorry, about the GATE program. So comprehensive information. And we want to say a huge thank you to our Bursary, as well as the team at the Ministry of Education. So at this time, students, we are going to shift gears a bit. We are going to take you now to breakout sessions. We're going to break you up into smaller groups, not literally break you up into smaller groups, but you know what I mean. And we are going to give you an opportunity to understand the registration process, the very important registration process that is coming up that you will soon be engaged in. And this will be facilitated by members of our admissions team.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I think we could probably start now. My name is Garth Jones. I'm from the admissions office at UWI. And we are just going to take you through just a quick overview of the registration process that is expected of you in August. Alrighty. So let's get straight into it. All right, so online registration starts from the 22nd of August, 2022, right, and ends on the 16th of September, 2022. In that time, we also have a late period, which you try to avoid. The late registration period runs from the last week of that registration period you're seeing there, and that incurs a late fee. So I'd suggest that all students try to register before, as early as possible, to avoid incurring that late fee. Right? And of course, as you see here in yellow, all students must register online each semester. So you're not registering for one period for the whole year. You have to do it every single semester that you're here. Okay. All right, so the process is completed in 7 steps. This link is also on the website. I believe this should be available to you all after the recording. So let's move on from here. All right, so the first step is for you to get access to your registration information. All right, that's basically your academic calendar, which should be available pretty soon, and your faculty booklets for information on courses. And those booklets are actually online now, but it's for the current academic year of 21-22. Most times it wouldn't change, so you can have a look at it now if you want to, and get acclimatized to what your courses would be like in the first semester. All right, so your next step would be your register for GATE, and the GATE officials just spoke to you a while ago. What I suggest you do at this point, you don't really need to, you can just apply for a GATE number. Once you get your offer, apply for your GATE number so that you can at least have that ready for August. So that's the best step for now. Instead of waiting until that period to rush to try and get that stuff done, organize your GATE number early so that you can have a seamless application later on in August. All right, step 3, attend academic advising. So as new students, you would all have an advising hold on your account, right? That advising hold is put there to make sure that you at least speak to academic advisor at your faculty before you move on to selecting your courses online, because you may register for the wrong courses or put yourself in the wrong path. So at least they want someone to speak to you first, give you the advice before you attempt your registration. And that advising hold will be removed. So you wouldn't be going through this blind. They would try to give you as much advice as possible. And before this academic advising, you also have your own faculty orientation. Right, so we'll try to guide you as much as possible. So also we'll have other sessions with first year experience as well as coming up over the next few weeks. All right, so keep tuned for that. All right, so step 4, you still, after you've done your academic advising and the whole is removed, you're now free to use the system to select your courses. Right, so you can select year 1 courses or year-long courses. In some cases, some programs that you may be doing, you may have a year-long course to do. Those year-long courses will show up in semester 2, but you register for it in semester 1. All right, so that's why it's listed here. This portal here is open for you all to use. Once you've been offered, you should have access to this now to have a look and see what the portal is like. Your login ID would be your ID number that was listed to you, and also your date of birth would be your PIN. Right, so it's the whole year and month date to get in, and you'll have to change it to whatever you want. That's for security reasons. It suggests that you change it to something else. Right. Right. Step 5, enroll in FYE to obtain financial clearance. Persons from student accounts or students and receivables would have spoken to you about this earlier. All right, so FYE is how we use, well, what we use for you to get financial clearance now, and you have to use it, right? Of course, it's broken down into 3 payments that you can make over for each semester. All right, so 1/3 of your fees is payable upfront on a particular date, and I have all that information on the website. And once you make those payments on time, you'll have access to your classes. All right, step 6, obtain your UE ID or smart card. All right, for those who don't know, they look similar to this. All right, once you've completed the registration process, right, you can go onto this website that we have here, and you should have gotten information on this on your offer as well, where you can upload your photos so they can prepare your ID. So once you're financially cleared, the ID can be printed and you will get information as to how it can be collected, right? This is important, these cards, because you need this to access the campus. They may ask you when you're coming on campus, the security will ask you for it. You may need it to access certain rooms and stuff like that, a library and stuff like that. So you need to have this on you at all times. Right, so this is an important step as well. All right, the last step is to maintain financial clearance. This is basically you submitting your documents using our e-courier system to get financial clearance. So you'll submit all your documents, proof of payment, your list of courses that you registered for. If you're applying for GATE, you'll submit your e-GATE form as well through our system, and we would give you financial clearance automatically after a few days. And that's basically the full steps for registration. All right. Right, so as soon as only fully registered, following selection of courses online, and all payments have been made, right? And registration allows for a student to access my e-learning, to attend lectures, sit exams, access library resources, and membership in the Guild of Students. All right, so once you completed your registration, you have access to all those things there, right? My e-learning is what the university uses for blended learning, i.e. Some classes may be face-to-face, and some classes would be online. And you'll have some assignments I'll be doing online, and this is what you need to access it. So for those who have already started experimented on the portal, you would see a link for my e-learning, but it doesn't have any courses there yet because you haven't been registered yet, right? So, but that's how you'll access your stuff and your lecture. You can speak to your lecturers, ask questions, stuff like that. So this is all tied into your financial clearance. All right, so that comes to the end of the presentation. So I think I'll open the floor now to any questions you may have concerning the registration process. I see staff members from the Bursary is here as well. So if you have any financial queries you want to ask as well, you can ask it. And we'll try to answer it as best as possible. All right, so the floor is open, guys.
Excuse me, sir.
Hi.
I remember hearing last day about students could get private student loans and even on-campus jobs. How will we be applying for that, and what is the deal with on-campus jobs? Will we be able to apply from that later on when we register, or?
Okay. All right. Well, Charlotte, you want to take this one?
I'm sorry. Yes. For on-campus jobs, yes, you can apply. You can apply for on-campus jobs. Once it is you have registered with the university, you will be considered a student, and we have an online portal that you can click and log in. So it's important that you access your emails and keep constant contact with your emails and with us. That is how we generally communicate with students through the emails. So you will get an email stating when it's registration time. There's a deadline date, so make sure, and once you see it, you register one time. Thanks so much, Garth.
Okay, Charlotte. Is that okay, Jasmine?
Yes, I also wanted to know, with the on-campus job, they will assign it depending on certain criteria, yeah? Or are we able to choose more or less what we want, depending on the option?
With the jobs, what is happening is that campus departments, etc., and even external persons will ask for 3 persons. They may be looking for someone in a certain field. Most times it's not necessary, so that you will receive a call from probably within a department of the University of the West Indies, or it can be an external company, and from there they will conduct interviews, just like a job that you would do having graduates. So you can have an option, you can have a discussion with them and determine whether it is something that you're interested in and proceed from there.
And once I register and I'm a fully registered student, once I decide I want to do the on-campus job, who should I go to, or where should I check to
Right.
let them
That
know
is
I would
actually
like that?
our office, which is in the Lloyd Brathwaite building. It's the first floor, the Division of Student Services and Development. Where it is you would go to for any admission inquiries downstairs. We are just upstairs. So one quick flight of stairs away.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, no problem at all. Thank you for your question. Garth, there's another question. This is Charlotte here again. Someone is asking, what's the next step after completion of my N1? Would my unofficial transcript need to be uploaded on the e-courier to complete registration, or would this not be necessary since UWI already has access to my grades, to these grades?
When it comes to N1 students, remember you're technically UWI students already, and we have access to your results. So when we're going into our entrance committee meetings, your results would come up on our reports automatically. You don't have to submit anything. All right, so you're good. You don't have to worry about applying for any transcript. You don't have to submit anything to us. We'll have the results once you get your grades online. We'll have it.
Garth, Charlotte again. I'm seeing a question with regards to, I think they're asking for some clarification with the my.uwi student portal in terms of, well, I know you indicated they would have received a UWI student ID. I think they just want some clarification with regards to that and how they would be able to access it. Just for you to repeat it, please.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that once you've been offered, you'd have issued you a UWI ID number, right? That number is what you use to identify yourself in any correspondence you're sending to the university from now on. So you're using that UWI ID number, usually 81600, whatever number, plus your PIN, which is your date of birth, year, month, day, in that order. To first access the portal, right? If you're having difficulties now, it may be that you haven't been fully accepted as yet. I don't know the situation of the person who's trying to get in. But once you're accepted, you should have access to it. But there'll be nothing there to do except probably access your email and stuff like that until later on when you're registered for your courses, right? So you can give it a try. If you get locked out, you could always send us an email and we could reset it for you. That's basically it. Hope that covered the question that you're asking. Right, I've seen somebody asking a question concerning double majoring on double majors. That'll be more at the faculty level. So when you go for academic advising, they could explain that to you. You wouldn't have to worry about it too much right now because for the first year, you don't really pick up a double major. You pick up that from level 2. All right, so you could probably mention it when you go for academic advising later on this year. And they will tell you, okay, well, this is what you need to do to get ready for year 2 when you want to pick up that double major. All right. I've seen a question here from Denisha. Right, so she's saying that she wants to know where the Faculty of Medical Science is located, but I'm venturing into nursing. Right, so nursing is not, the School of Nursing is not in Mount Hope. The School of Nursing is actually in El Dorado. So I think it's right next to one of the secondary schools. I can't really name the street right now, but it's not in Mount Hope. Right, so that's where your School of Nursing would be housed, and that's where all your classes would be actually. So I guess if you're looking for apartments or transport, that is the area that you'll be aiming for, right? Chanel?
Hi, good evening. You hear me?
Yep.
Yes. So with respect to the optometry program, the classes, where would they be held? I heard it's in Couva Hospital. Is it there?
That's correct. Optometry unit is actually held in the Couva, is actually located in Couva, the Couva Hospital. You may have some classes that may be, like certain foundation classes may be at Mount Hope, but your majority of classes would be at the Couva facility.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Hi, afternoon, sir. Just bouncing off of that question. I heard that the School of Pharmacy may be moving down to Couva. Is that correct?
I know they're in talks with the whole faculty is supposed to be moving down to, not Couva, but I think the whole faculty is supposed to be moving down to Davie. But that's just in talks. That's not concrete as yet. So as it stands right now, your classes are in Mount Hope.
Hallelujah. All right, thanks.
Right?
Hi guys, Charlotte here. We have about 3 more minutes. So any last questions, students?
Excuse, in regards to the private student loans, will we also have to go to the Lloyd Brathwaite first floor Division of Student Affairs to deal with that once we register?
Right. Was you asking about a loan?
Or the private student loans. I remember hearing about that last week.
Is it the H.E.L.P loan you're talking about?
I was wondering if it's the same as the H.E.L.P or if it's a separate thing.
Well, any kind of loans you're taking is through the banks, no matter what it is. And if it's a H.E.L.P loan, of course, you'd go to the banks that they mentioned in the presentation. So if it's Republic Bank, you have to go to the UE branch only. I think if it's RBC, it's the St. Augustine branch only as well. And the other banks is any First Citizens and Scotia is any branch. Once you mention it's a H.E.L.P loan, they would let you know what you need to do. Right. So those loans that you're talking about, the banks will help you with that. And if there's anything you need, any documents from us, we could assist you with that.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you so much.
So Giovanna, let's go fast before you get cut off.
Hi, good day.
Hi.
I was an N1 student, right? And I paid for the ID card and all this stuff, but it was during the time of the pandemic and I didn't get a physical ID. Would it be that I get a new ID or like it have an ID there and I have to come and collect it sometime?
No, during that time, I think they would have printed IDs for collection. You could always send an email to the same email address you used to contact them to find out when it's ready for collection, when you can collect it or how. So you would have to do another one again. So that's
okay, no problem.
Used throughout, right?
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Jabari?
Right. I wanted to know if paying hall fees based on the installment plan, when I'll have to make the first payment.
Okay. Charlotte, can you take that one as well?
He's saying something about installment with the hall fees.
I think he wants to know when is the first installment due for halls.
I would have to refer you to Mr. Kevin Staggs, the manager of the halls. And what I could do, Jabari, is I can take your information and I can liaise with Mr. Kevin Staggs and have him contact you with regards to your particular situation, and you can discuss it further with him.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Alrighty. I think someone's asking if school is going to be face-to-face for online now. It's a blended thing, right? So you definitely have a lot more face-to-face classes from now on, but we also have online aspects as well. So it wouldn't be fully face-to-face and not fully online, right? So it's blended.
Garth, we would like to return to the main session now.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, students, for joining us in this breakout session. We'll meet you across on the other side.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Can you let me know that you are here and you're hearing? If you're back in the main session, can you just let us know in the chat? We'll appreciate that. Just let us know in the chat that you are in fact hearing us. And that
Yes,
yes.
The G.A.T.E team is here.
Yes, okay, great. Students, are you here with us? Are you back in the chat? Yes, okay, good. So we're getting some, we are here, we are here, we are here. Wonderful, great. So we have come to the end of our breakout sessions, and I know quite a bit was covered. Some persons would have gotten some questions answered. Some may have benefited from some of the answers that were given. And again, I want to say sincere thanks to the entire team at admissions, our campus's admissions office for facilitating the breakout sessions. And of course, to our team at the Bursary, and of course, the Ministry of Education, the team representing the G.A.T.E program today, who joined us. Students, we hope that you appreciated the information that was shared. Again, orientation is a process, so do not worry too much if you feel like you did not get to ask everything that you wanted to ask today. This is why Smart Start is being done in this way, to meet with you on a weekly basis, to really delve into some of the very specific areas so that you can get information that you need, so that you can feel empowered to make the decisions that you need to make in making your first year experience a successful one. All right, so we do have some reminders for you. And I will opt not to say what those reminders are, but show them to you via this video, which I will now like to turn our attention to before we officially close this afternoon's program. So producers, over to you so that we can show this video and then we wrap our program today officially. Wonderful. So students, that brings us officially to the end of Smart Start session 2. Just a couple of reminders. We will be here again next week. We do have a holiday next week, so our session will be held next week, Wednesday. We'll remind you again, next week, Wednesday, same time, we will be here for Smart Start session 3. We know that we had quite a number of questions coming in about scholarships and bursaries, and in some instances, even our halls of residence. So we're going to dedicate our session to this next week. So you'll get a sense of what scholarships and bursary opportunities are available to you through our division's Financial Advisory Services Department. And we will also want to touch a bit on our halls of residence because, of course, semester is opening very soon. And for persons that know anything about the UWI experience, halls is a huge part of that, all right? So we want you to benefit from the residential life experience that our campus would offer to you. Again, we've placed some reminders there for you. Top 5 must-dos. We want you to subscribe to our FYE YouTube channel. Recordings from all of our Smart Start sessions and all of the other upcoming events will be hosted on that platform. So if you have not already, we encourage you to subscribe. For persons that have not yet joined our support group on Facebook, we definitely are encouraging you to do that as well. There was a great suggestion coming in from a first-year student asking if we will consider doing a WhatsApp group. So that is definitely something we can talk about in the background. Our mandate, of course, is to ensure, and our commitment, more importantly, is to ensure that you have a successful first year of study at the UWI St. Augustine. So we want to empower you with everything that you need to have. So we hope that so far you are getting comfortable, the anxiety levels are going down a bit, and this is exactly what the FYE program is meant to do, to support your successful transition to this very important chapter that we call university life. So again, thank you so very much for being here. A special thank you to all of our presenters for taking the time to share. Thank you, students, for taking the time to ask your questions, to be here. We look forward to you being here again with us next week, Wednesday. Do not forget, next week, Wednesday. And of course, check your emails. Be sure to check your emails for all of the information that we have to share. So on behalf of the entire team at the UWI St. Augustine campus, I say thank you for participating, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Good afternoon, everyone, and do enjoy the rest of your day.